What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video. Here we are with 10 reasons why you should never, ever move to the United States. We're gonna see if I agree with these 10 reasons or not. Cause I don't. You got 10 of them. We finna find out. Before we jump into this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon all up top. You'll subscribe to any of it. Put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. I'm human. I'll talk back. If you got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or in the description there's a Google form link. What we got?
USA! 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 USA!
We're number 28 and dropping. A nonprofit called the Social Progress Index recently came out with another ranking on world progress. And guess what? 3 countries actually dropped when it came to overall progression: Hungary, Brazil, and us. And the other 2 dropped less than we did, which means we're doing worse over the last decade than every other country in the world, people. Does that surprise though? Maybe not when you look around and see the challenges we have in our country today. Our kids are struggling, our adults are overweight and drugged out, there's a political divide we haven't seen in a long time, and meanwhile,
a huge political divide, huge.
Our adults are overweight and drugged out, there's a political divide we haven't seen in a long time, and meanwhile, we're distracted by our phones and reality TV. The data points to an alarming picture of the state of our nation, said one really smart person. It's like we're a developing country, and that is just sad. Despite our enormous wealth, military power, and cultural influence, we're coming up in last place. We're like the entitled rich kid who keeps failing in class. Today, we're gonna look at the world rankings and talk about things that we do right, but spend most of our time talking about the things that we do wrong, because we have some issues big time in America. But that's no surprise, right? We're not the same America. 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 No way. So before we get into the metrics, talk about how depressing things are here.
I like that little intro. We're not the same America. I did like that little intro. All right, come on.
So before we get into the metrics, talk about how depressing things are here, we should go over the final results. Of all big developed nations, Norway came out on top, followed by Denmark, Finland, and New Zealand. Many African nations came out on the bottom. We ranked 28th after having slipped from 11th a decade ago. We now rank behind significantly poorer countries like Estonia, Cyprus, Greece, and the Czech Republic. But we dropped more than anyone else. If this were to continue, the US would be on par with those African nations one day. Now this isn't going to be very fun, but let's just rip off the Band-Aid and get started with this stuff.
On breakfast, Jack, and hurry.
Jack, Jack in the box. We're really cooking now.
One big reason for our poor showing in our world rankings is our health and nutrition. As a nation, we lead the world in medical technology, but we're 97th in access to healthcare. We have health statistics similar to people in Chile, Albania, and Jordan. If you compare the US to the world's 11th richest nations, the US spends far more on healthcare, but the outcomes are last. That means access to healthcare, efficiency of our medical system, and equity across different income groups is terrible. The Affordable Care Act in 2010 was supposed to provide relief in terms of cost and access, but sadly it's been statistically proven that countries with nationalized medical systems outperform us on all healthcare measures.
Yes, I'm for universal healthcare. I'm for that. I don't know why we don't do that. Like you said, access to healthcare is ridiculously expensive and it's too costly. And we're 97th. That's crazy. But also, what he said before, our nutrition and health, the things that we're choosing to put inside of our bodies, the things that we're eating is also a huge factor when it comes to our health. So, yeah. We're not so hot.
With nationalized medical systems outperform us on all healthcare measures. Plus, a lot of us are overweight, but we know that already. We rank 11th in the world in terms of obesity rates and first among all developed nations, unless you count Kuwait. When you look at mental health, we're winners again. And by that I mean losers. The World Health Organization says we have the third highest depression rates in the world after China and India. The share of Americans who report that every day is a bad mental health day has doubled over the last 25 years. Rising distress and despair are a largely American phenomenon, not observed in other advanced countries. And since the pandemic, our depression rates have tripled. In terms of suicide rates, the U.S. isn't crazy high. We rank 34th in the world for suicide rates per capita, but it's going up fast, pal. Our nation's suicide rates are up 30% since the year 2000 and up 50% among girls and women. And you can bet social media has a lot to do with that.
Wow, because I think the guys are probably still leading, because it's usually mostly guys, suicide statistic-wise in the U.S. But it looks like the girls are climbing. This is absolutely crazy to me, man. Like, so there's so many people suffer from like mental health or depression or just they just have it rough. It's a very sad fact, and I hate to hear that. I just hate to hear it.
50% among girls and women, and you can bet social media has a lot to do with that.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
I remember that commercial. I remember that commercial so well, bro.
Any questions?
Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Parents who use drugs have children who use drugs.
We're a country of stimulants, we are. Drug, alcohol, and prescription medication use is climbing. We've been in an endless war on drugs, but as a country, we consume more than 5% of all illegal drugs in the world. Just our country alone. And drug use is up in this nation by more than 8% over the last 20 years. An estimated 1 in 10 kids in the USA lives with a parent who has an alcohol problem. Alcohol use is only up a teeny bit, so at least there's that. And the good news is that with teens, it's down a lot. Kids these days don't drink and smoke and experiment like they did when we were kids. Yay, kids. But prescription drug use is up since 2000. Overdose numbers are skyrocketing, especially when you look at synthetic drugs. And total yearly deaths from all of this has more than doubled in the last 20 years.
McGruff here. See that guy?
Bro, McGruff the crime dog was the GOAT. And all throughout elementary, bro, I rock with McGruff so heavily. This crime dog was the GOAT.
In the last 20 years.
I don't know what else.
McGruff here. See that guy? He's stealing that bike. Now, see that lady? She's calling the cops. Mimi Marth. Part of the...
I'm sorry, I know this commercial is old, bro. I can't get over the size of this phone, bro. That Joker is huge. My Lord. How far will you come technically? We may have went back, and it's getting worse on a lot of things, but how far we come technology-wise is amazing compared to that. But keep it going.
Now, see that lady? She's calling the cops. Mimi Marth. Part of the Eyes and Ears Patrol in Hartford, Connecticut. Take a bite out of crime.
Now, what about crime? Well, when you measure violent and property crime, we're about middle of the road, but a majority of countries have a lower homicide rate than we do. But crime and safety has been a real concern in 2020, as large cities have been overrun with a spike in shootings and vandalism. Shrinking police budgets have only made the problem worse. We lead the world in percentage of people locked up, and we spend by far the most on keeping people behind bars. More than 2 million Americans are in prison alone, and that's not even in jails. So basically the entire population of New Mexico is in prison, at least comparatively.
Crazy.
Of course, we have a ton of jerks who do deserve to be in jail, but are we doing something wrong? A lot of other countries are educating, counseling, and treating our criminals' addictions and helping them transition into the job sector. Not us.
Our nation's crime has dropped a lot over the last 30 years.
That's right, and so is crime around the world. Why is that, Mappy?
One study says because the world's population is getting older.
Huh, well that makes sense, Mappy. You get an A. older people are less likely to commit crimes, at least for the most part.
Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president. You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington.
On the freedom metric, we lag in sharing political power among all citizens. We rank a shameful 100th in the world when it comes to discrimination against minorities. While anyone is capable of reaching the American dream, and clearly anyone can rise to power within our political system, it's still skewed towards one demographic. Our First Amendment rights are being taken away now too. If you say the wrong thing on social media, you'll get ostracized, or fired from your job, or even assaulted. Cancel culture is taking over America right now. And politicians...
Oh my God, bro, let's not even get started on the cancel culture, bro. Like, it's getting ridiculous. I understand cancel for someone for something legit, but people are getting canceled over nothing these days. One small mistake they may have made 20 to 30 years ago, they haven't made a mistake since then. Let's cancel them. It is what he's saying. It's getting ridiculous.
Or even assaulted. Cancel culture is taking over America right now. And politicians can take away our rights with one stroke of a pen. And they're doing that right now.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
We should probably get a bit...
I just gotta know who was in charge of these commercials back then, bro? Who was doing this back then? Who?
People can stop it.
We should probably get a big fat C when it comes to our environmental score. We rank first in greenhouse gas emissions. We only have the world's 40th best water supply. But in terms of overall pollution, when you measure chemicals in our water, the contamination in our soil, and particulate matter UGM3, whatever that means, we're super good, like almost at the bottom. Yay us.
I'm a volunteer for the environment. I'm going to clean up some trash one day.
Wait, you are a volunteer or you're going to be a volunteer?
Both. I have a good soul.
I don't think you can say that about yourself, Karen. I think other people need to say that about you. So weird. She's crazy. Education-wise, it's all over the place. We rank number 1 in the world for quality of our universities, but we rank 91st in the world when it comes to access to quality basic education. Our kids get an education roughly similar to what kids in Uzbekistan and Mongolia get, and that's not good. How do our kids compare to the kids across the world? About average. In reading, we're 11th in the world, and in science, we're close to that, but our math scores are middle of the road. Latvian and Czech Republic kids are smarter in math than we are. But you can't blame our schools as much as you can our family structure. Research has shown that 60% of school success is determined by an American kid's upbringing. Bad family structure, poor living conditions, and rough neighborhoods matter 6 times more than the quality of the teacher or the school itself. Well, we know it's not our household incomes holding our kids back. After all, we're the 6th wealthiest overall when it comes to average household wealth. So it has to be our family values which are the main cause for our school failures. One big thing stands out here: family structure. It's estimated that 2% of U.S. kids have a parent in prison, which is crazy high. That's like 1 in 50 kids. 2-parent families have been proven to have a significant impact on a kid's success. Here in America, we have a high level of early marriage couples, and in a majority of U.S. states, kids can still get married before the age of 18. The divorce rate among U.S. households is going down over time, but...
I did not know about that. They can get married before 18? Yeah, I did not know that one.
Married before the age of 18. The divorce rate among U.S. households is going down over time, but we still rank 5th in the world for divorce rates at about 46%. Why? Well, Americans can legally marry so young these days, and divorces are much easier to navigate through now, and the social stigma of a divorce in the U.S. no longer exists. And parents are distracted by trying to get ahead, by trying to please others, and by social media and TV. We have, apparently, the highest rate of kids living in single-parent households of all other nations. Almost a quarter of U.S. kids under the age of 18 live with one parent and no other adult, which is 3 times higher than the world average. So maybe The eroding American family structure is setting up our kids for failure. Chasing the American dream puts undue stress on Americans. We work way too many hours. 1 in 10 Americans works more than 50 hours a week, which is the 10th highest rate in the world. And our system of support for working parents is weak. Companies in a lot of other countries give far more paid leave for new parents and much more vacation time and sick time than we do. And then there's this. Both parents work full-time in nearly half of all U.S. households, and that's up from 31% in 1970. And those are only the households where there are 2 parents at home. And still, nearly a third of kids in our country live in poverty, people. If you're not out there sitting in traffic trying to get ahead in America, there's a decent chance you're also struggling or homeless. Homelessness in our country is going down for the most part, although in some of our major cities it's skyrocketing in places like New York, LA, Seattle, and Portland. More than 500,000 Americans sleep without shelter each night. All of this, all of the problems that we've talked about so far, it's been going on forever. They predate our current administration and have grown under the leadership of both parties. Of course, we're trying to fix things all the time. Kids are being asked to exercise more in school, and laws are passed banning certain foods. There's a war on drugs, like we said earlier. Schools are constantly tweaking things to improve scores and involvement. New homeless programs are developed to try to help house people and transition them more effectively. And new laws hit the books to regulate emissions and pollution. But are we succeeding? I mean, maybe the problem isn't the laws and programs and initiatives. What if the problem is us? You can't change laws and make changes to the way a country runs and expect change unless the people change with it. And you can't change people unless they want to change people.
Facts.
Maybe the reason we're falling behind other nations isn't the way we run our country. Maybe it's the people in it, the way we act and behave.
I feel like it's got a lot to do with the people at the top as well. What is it? The snake rots from the head or something like fish rots. The fish rods from the head. So it does have, I think, a lot to do with the way we do run the country and certain things. But again, yeah, the people as well. I completely agree with that.
Isn't the way we run our country. Maybe it's the people in it, the way we act and behave, and the choices we make. Face it, the American society is kind of broken right now. Now, earlier I did an optimistic video where I called America the best country on earth, but that was mostly just nationalistic pandering. Look, I fly the flag high and proud myself, but facts are facts. We have a lot of things that we're doing wrong. I mean, sure, we're rich and we're proud, but are we nice to each other? Are we complacent? Do we even give a crap anymore? I mean, have Americans thrown in the towel? And don't be so sad. Smile. We're gonna be okay.
Got to.
Probably. Maybe.
Don't be so sad. Smile. We're gonna be okay. Probably. Maybe. Probably not. Probably. But I'll keep the smile though. I'll keep the smile because he told me to.
Smile. We're gonna be okay. Probably. Maybe. We're kinda bad. It's kinda sad. It's like we know we're different and we don't give a shit. From LA to northern Maine, we're not the same America. 'Cause it seems we've lost our way. We're not the same America. Now there's no one left to blame. We're not the same America. Will we be back one day? We're not the same America. 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 No way. Come on, guys, we can do better than this. Hey, we're all to blame. But let's get back to being number one again, huh? I think we can do it. Hey guys, if you learned something new about America or
that was a fun video to react to just because of the song. But it was very sad to see all those facts. And like I said, I love America, but at the same time, you do have to realize there's a lot of things we need to work on. There's a lot of problems and issues we have that we need to fix. But this video, this was a good video at pointing out a lot of those problems. Now, what I need you guys to do is make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. If you got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon, or in the description section there's a Google form link. Hit the link, fill out your suggestion, send it to me. Want me to get yours faster, fill out premium. Social media and Patreon all up top. You want to subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy D Neal. Out. We're not